Ignite, sparked by BBB, where conversations are taking place to change the future.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to BBB Sharing. This is Joshua, and here I have Rahsan Mitchell from Mitchells Pest Control. How are you today?
I'm very well, Joshua. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm glad you could come in. So tell me a little bit about what you do.
Well, I do pest control. Have been in the industry for the last 10 years now, and pretty much offer full service pest control, anywhere from general pest control to wildlife, um, to air quality. I mean, it's
Really?
full service. Air quality concerns crawl spaces. The crawl space in your home. It can some homes can get quite damp, which breeds mold and mildew and a musty smell. And really, you need to have a professional come in and take a look at that and to clean that up because that air or the space that's in the crawl space, if you have an HVAC system in the floor, it is generating in the crawl space and obviously up it's coming up through the your ductwork and into your living space where you're breathing. And so we come in and kind of clean that up for you and give you better air quality.
Okay, interesting. So have you ever what's like the biggest thing you've got called in for?
Wow. The biggest thing was termite work on a federal installation. And it took me literally over because I could only do it over the weekends because of the federal employees. And it really took about 2 full weekends to get done. And the space was huge. Cool. It was probably 57,000 square feet.
Wow.
Yeah.
And when you go in and you find, these damages or anything going on, do you fix them or do you just let them know, like, hey, this is something that needs to be fixed?
No, depending on the scope of work, I do along with my company, we do minor repairs, nothing too extensive. We don't get too heavily into carpentry work, but if there's something that needs to be sealed or repaired, that's small, that requires, a couple of pieces of plywood or wood, we certainly can do that.
Okay. So what helps you sleep at night when you're done with all these bugs?
Well, what helps me sleep at night is knowing that I've taken care of the customer and the customer is satisfied. It's a job well done. I mean, this job never gets boring. There's something different every day, and that's what's exciting and interesting to me when I bring my expertise to the customers and they're satisfied with my work, and I can go home and sleep good at night.
Fair. And you said you were have a military background.
That's correct.
Okay. So what are some things and some practices that you bring into your work that you've learned?
Wow, great question. I like to say that we in the military, and I say we, although I'm no longer serving, but we also say we soldiers for life.
Mhm.
We share what we call 7 Army values, and those values are loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. And I bring all of that into my business and to my customers with Mitchell's Pest Control.
Okay. Nice. And where did you grow up?
I grew up in North Carolina.
North Carolina?
North Carolina.
What's the difference over here from there?
Um, Difference here is, it's a bigger city. Obviously, I grew up in a smaller city in North Carolina, a little small place called Pine Tops, North Carolina, that many people have never heard of, but
Pine Top sounds small.
it's very, very small. But it was close to Rocky Mount, North Carolina. And but I was born in Washington D.C. and my grandparents decided that Washington D.C. was not a place for me to grow up with my mother, so they convinced my mother for them to come up, pick me up, and bring me back to North Carolina. So, and my mother was a single mother at the time, working a job and trying to go to school as well. So, coming to North Carolina was it was great for me. It gave me some solid backgrounds as a young man, growing up with grandparents, and it was there that I learned about the military really because I would, you know, coming up as a child through elementary school and middle school, and I would see these guys from the neighborhood. They would leave and come back, and all of a sudden they're in these different uniforms, you know, the Army, the Marine Corps, the Navy. And I often wondered, like, where are these guys going? And so when I finally got to high school is when I had the opportunity to join JROTC.
Mm-hmm.
And I did it for 4 years and decided that, you know, that was for me. And so I joined the Army shortly after that. And the rest is history, you know, 26-year Army veteran. And I loved every minute of the Army, and that's what, again, really what I bring to pest control because all of my military background and experience just translates over to what I do in pest control and my customers.
Yeah, you never lose what you learn. I mean, if you do, you're not doing something right.
That's correct.
Yeah, it's
That's
always
correct.
build on top of what you got.
Absolutely.
So, what made you choose pest control?
Wow, great story. Pest control was not in the, you know, foreseeable future when I was leaving the military. However, um, you know, I was getting my taxes done or prepared by my tax preparer one year in 2015. And my tax preparer asked if I knew anyone that wanted to buy a pest control company. And you know, I never thought much of it at the time, but after giving it some thought, I thought, well, you know, I'm about to leave the military. I need something to do. Let me take a look into it and see what it's about. And so I looked into it, and you know, it was a turnkey business, as I later learned. Everything was coming with the whole buy, if you will. And so I started going to the bank, and the bank said, okay, well, we need certain questions answered. And I went back to the tax preparer to get those questions answered, and the deal was kind of off the table, you know, for some reason. So for some unfortunate reason, but the good thing about that is, you know, I was vested at that point, and I had gotten some OJT from that particular company, and so I just decided to move forward on my own. So went out and bought a couple of trucks, got my license, and the rest is history.
Wow.
10 years later, here I am.
You blink and it's gone.
That's right.
Oh my God. When it comes to, that was awesome. When it comes to your work, when someone calls you, you know, I've got this, whatever it may be.
Right.
Well, is there any kind of homework that you give the customers that they, you know, you might want to know beforehand?
Great question. It depends on the work, actually. If someone calls me, for an example, if I get a mice or rats call, I ask a few questions like, you know, where are you seeing them? How many did you see? You know, about how large was it? All of these things, I kind of just get a generalization of what I'm dealing with before I get there. And then once I pretty much get there, you know, every house is essentially the same. It's just built different.
Mhm.
And so again, that's what makes it interesting because it's sort of the same, but it's applying it in a different area or a different aspect in every customer's home. So the customer doesn't necessarily have to do any homework um, outside of when it comes to dealing with bed bugs. I mean, when an individual has bed bugs, then there's some extensive work that needs to be
No
done.
problem. What makes that one stand out?
Um, it makes it stand out because they could be literally anywhere inside of the home. Once an individual in the home or a customer has been bitten or they have identified that they have bed bugs, uh, uh, the way they travel, the way they move, the way they lay their eggs, And just being in sheer contact with bed bugs, they can literally be anywhere inside of that home. And so, what makes that so difficult to deal with is there's a lot of preparation that the customer would have to go through. Typically, what I like to share with them is any bedding or clothing that is worn or that's been slept on. You want to first dry that stuff in the dryer, and then after it's dried, you wash it and then re-dry it. And so what that does is kill any eggs or any live bed bugs at the time that are actually on those fabrics. Now, typically, dryer heat will kill them. It depends on a lot of newer dryers will kill them, but it has to be run on a full cycle on high heat. And then there's the whole concept of once they've done that process, then you have to bag that clothing or those fabrics so that they don't get reinfested. And then, I mean, when you talk about the mattresses that people sleeping on, the beds have to be, taken apart almost from the mattress, the box spring, the bed frame, everything. Any dressers, any furniture in the home, all of that stuff has to be moved. So basically everything has to be moved sort of to the center of the room so that we can get to all of the baseboards around the room. And the furniture within the room. So it can become a little cumbersome depending on the size of the room.
Bigger than I thought. Wow.
Yes.
Little guys are going to create some mischief.
Yes, very, very much so. I mean, nobody wants to get bitten by bed bugs, or have them in their homes for a period of time. And I've been in homes where people have just they thought it was going to go away, and it never did. And it just grew and grew and grew and grew.
They make a home for themselves.
Yeah, because bed bugs grow. The life cycle for a bed bug is 21 days. From the time one is hatched from an egg to it's fully an adult is 21 days. So you're thinking you're getting adult bed bugs every 21 days if you don't take care of the problem. And so just imagine going years without taking care of the problem. How many bed bugs could be there?
Okay. Well, how can people get in contact with you?
They can contact me by the website, www.Mitchells with an S, Pest Control VA.com, or they can call 804-212-0756 or email me at rj@mitchellspestcontrolva.com.
Awesome. Is there anything else you wanted to tell them? People who are listening?
Yeah, anybody that's listening, you hear this podcast, anyone that calls and said they heard it here through BBB, we're offering specials for them to sign up for a full year of pest control at a low price of $49.99 a month.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming in. It was nice to meet you.
Thank you as well.
Yeah. And everyone else listening, make sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Spotify. You'll check out those videos on YouTube and Spotify. And yeah, everyone who's, staying in their house, stay safe, drive safe, do everything you need to do. Get your chores done. Bye, guys.
Happy summer.
Ignite, sparked by BBB, where conversations are taking place to change the future.